we'll get started. Slow burn here.
We should be talking after a game tonight, but we can't seem to catch a Celtics game anymore.
Yeah, where do you want to start with this, John? We can go so many different places.
No, I mean, we're starting with the news, obviously. So by now, everybody knows the James Harden, ate his way out of Houston, or
that protest is over,
or did whatever it was he wanted to do to no longer play for the Rockets.
He did everything but.
He got his wish.
Just another case of an entitled NBA superstar getting whatever they want, whenever they want, just because they say so. And you have no choice. They have all the power, and Houston did what they could do. I guess we'll get into winners and losers, but the way it unfolded was pretty interesting, because it sounded, again, this is the second time Philly was used as like a prop. Philly was used to create
and abused
this idea that there was something going on that really wasn't happening, because it sounded like it was Simmons, and they were close on it. And Maxey.
I thought they were.
And, and as soon as you guys texted, you're like, it's done. I was like, oh, wow, Simmons is gone. It was like, nope, it's a really complicated 4-team deal with a bunch of pieces. So that to me doesn't lead me to believe that, the Philly deal was on the table, and then, all of a sudden just they were like let's go do this really complicated 4-team deal. That means Philly was really never in. And
let's get Indy involved.
Yeah, they used Philly as leverage. Come on, that's exactly what this was.
Maybe, but this had to have been
much of that.
It had to have been going on for a long time.
Maybe they were flirting with the idea, but did you really think, with the way the Philadelphia 76ers started out, you really think that Doc Rivers wanted to sign up for that task, that tall task? I think Doc was thinking, well, wait a minute, I think I fixed this thing. I think I'm the cure here. And 10 games into it, we have a pretty good record. And the Celtics managed to have first place right now, but I don't think he was excited about coaching James Harden.
Well, the early returns out of Philly were that Doc was relieved because he likes Ben. Simmons was crazy relieved because he wanted nothing to do with going to Houston, and even Embiid was happy. So it seems like Philly's all set. Philly felt like we're all set with what we've got.
They like what they have right now.
And I listen. If I was the Rockets, I would have been so happy if my star player demands a trade, and all of a sudden Ben Simmons becomes available, and it sounded like maybe Maxey may or may not have been part of the deal. I mean, that to me would have been the luck of all lucks, timing wise, for Houston. Man, I mean, I know Houston got an absolute haul if you're into the whole draft pick thing. And I'm sure Bobby's going to tell us why it's so much better than what the Sixers could offer because of all the draft picks and everything like that. But for me, if you're Houston, you've got John Wall, you've got DeMarcus Cousins. I know he's not like a cornerstone piece anymore, but you've got Christian Wood. You've got some good players there. And if you were able to bring in Simmons and maybe another guy, you can be competitive. And that to me is, I think, what Houston would have wanted rather than to just do a full rebuild. I mean, man, imagine being a Rockets fan right now and what you're used to watching on offense and from that team. And now all of a sudden you really don't have much of anything at all to really look, at least long-term with Christian Wood.
Before we get into it, let's just break it down just so everybody's got it.
Yeah.
You're looking at basically the deal, and I want to just pull it up entirely to have the whole thing. But the Nets just get Harden, right?
Yep. Well,
that's basically it.
And so it wasn't technically a 4-team deal, but
there was a second trade after the fact.
Yeah, so the Pacers and Rockets made a trade after.
They made a trade after the fact.
Okay.
But basically, the Nets get Harden in a second-round pick. The Rockets get Victor Oladipo from Indiana that got involved here. Exum, pronounce it for me.
Kurocs.
Kurocs, right? Kurocs.
Kurocs. Exum, bro. You said it right.
Yeah. 4 first-round picks.
Harden.
And 4 pick swaps. Okay. Cavs get Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince. I don't know
Levert's gone too.
And Levert goes to the Pacers, which is I think
huge.
So what's funny is
my Pacers.
Pacers sneaky get better there.
And they had been great. You look at them, you're probably talking about them being a top 3 team in the East already, and
Oh,
he probably fits in the mold there as well. So
Wait.
it
Are
was
you saying they could possibly be better than the Celtics? Wait, Jimmy,
yeah.
didn't
Wait a second. I thought I was going
people
crazy.
scream at you and call you a lunatic for saying
Yeah.
such things? All
Yeah.
right.
Joke
No,
is
I had a-
anything about basketball. What am I doing on this show? What am I
Yes.
doing on any show? I'm an
Yo,
idiot.
Jimmy got-
I'm a hater.
Well, explain to me, Cleveland. I don't get it all. I mean, Cleveland's now got.
assets, baby.
Cleveland's got Drummond, Allen, Thonmaker, JaVale McGee. Like, what do you need?
Lot
All
of
of these
trees.
7
They got
Bolden.
big Celtics 2013 energy. The first year of Brad Stevens.
And Bolden. You know, they
Yeah,
got
right.
like 4
It'll be about
7-footers
as
on
good
them.
too.
The Cavaliers have some nice
Just
pieces
tough.
into the future. They were the question was whether they were going to be a sneaky Harden trade here, but instead they choose to just keep piling up those assets. And
So who's the winner here? I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna change my opinion 5 times on this trade. I probably.
it's Brooklyn.
But
Brooklyn.
I
No,
think
it's not.
It's gotta be Brooklyn.
I think both Brooklyn and Houston lost this trade. Believe it or not. I really do. I don't know that Brooklyn is market. I really do.
This
I think-
isn't the final team we're going to be looking at with Brooklyn either.
Okay, Bobby or Josue.
Brooklyn will add some bigs
why
if
did
you're not
Brooklyn
going
win?
at it with just Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. They'll add a big. And they actually have depth around these guys. I don't think they lost that many. The picks don't go far enough to matter for me.
They do.
They're not
They do. A
They
little
do
bit.
eventually, but only at the tail end. They're not
Yeah.
going to be bad enough that early.
I'm surprised there wasn't pick protections there, but
I'm not. I'm surprised Houston didn't say, can we push them all to 2 years from now? You know, can we start this all? Like, that's what I would have done. If I were Houston, I would have tried to start
I don't
this.
think you can do that. I think there's a limit on how far out it can go. I
I
think
would have
it's 7
started.
years.
The first one I want to trade for is your 2022 first rounder. Then I'll start the swaps and start to do it there. So I want to start catching you on the downswing. The first 2-3 years you can probably say are tossed. The pick swaps are useless, and the pick is going to be low. The pick is going to be low.
Yeah.
So you're basically the Celtics now with a bunch of picks in the 20s. Like, who gives a
Yeah.
Well, that's what we said about that Celtics trade way back when, too. You never know. Durant and Irving are signed
never
for
know.
2 years, and that's Harden's window as well. So all 3 of these guys could potentially be free agents after next year. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see how it fits. We know it's combustible.
I mean, it
for
blew up
sure.
on the Nets once. It blew up on the Nets once.
Oh, it's
I mean,
unfathomable that they would do the picks thing again, but
it's incredible that they're doing it again.
but it's a different brass there. These weren't the guys who did it before.
They're
Those
like-
guys got fired because of that.
They're
Let's
like,
talk
we got
about
from- look at what we look like now, though. You know, we survived that. It's like, yeah, but it took you guys about 7 years, and it was pure luck if you really think about it that they were able to strike those 2 guys.
Geographical location.
how is it going to work, though? I mean, talent aside, how is this? How do you guys see this working when you get Kevin Garnett, James Harden reuniting? You know, the old middle school buddies meet again in high school, and you know, the high school buddy Kyrie Irving's is he now on the outside looking in, and is he pissed off? Does he even know this trade happened yet? I mean, has anyone told him? Is he on
That's the second layer.
planet
to
Earth
that.
right
yeah.
now?
Somebody
And-
from Sex and the City told him.
Yeah,
Biggest
exactly.
reason- I think that's the reason why
I think he's doing a Zoom dinner party with Kim Cattrall tonight, so she might tell him.
I mean,
No,
I saw a
that's the biggest
report.
reason they won this trade, I think, because if you
I
think
saw a
about it,
report.
all Kyrie's fault at the end of the day if he doesn't, commit to the team or decides that he just wants to come and go as he please. You have someone like James Harden to put alongside Kevin Durant, and that puts them in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, it's almost like regardless of what Kyrie does, it's like, okay, well, at least I have my guy here, and we have at least 2 years at this.
So my question is, how much of this is Kyrie protection in terms of, like, are they legit worried? I don't know. That's what I don't get how it works if all 3 of them are there together. There's only one ball, like Jimmy said earlier. Like, and the team's got massive defensive issues now. You're forcing
That's
Jordan.
my worry. Yeah.
You're forcing Jordan to play, and he's brutal. Jordan's been done. Jordan should have retired 4 years ago, not signed as part of a super team, 3-way because he's pals with these guys 2 years ago. He's a disaster. So the Allen hurts them. You've lost the bench depth in Levert there. You've lost Dinwiddie already. So, like, I don't care. It's a superstar league. 3 superstars. We saw what the Lakers did. The 3 players on the Nets are better than the Lakers' best 3 players last year, and they easily won the title. But it's
they're
just
different.
It's a weird fit. of
Exactly.
players, right?
It's a different fit of positions, a different fit of where they are in their careers,
and type of players, ball dominant players.
Type players, and most of all, different personalities. I mean, you might have the two most disgruntled NBA players in the league now on the same team. I mean, and then you've got Kevin Durant, who, you know, he's at any given point, this guy's got 4 or 5 Twitter accounts going. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Nets. If you can, I mean, one of the funniest tweets I saw was that meme of the person throwing like the food in the grease fire and it just blowing up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so funny to me because and they were like, oh, this is like the Nets adding James Harden to the mix. I mean, you've got a guy in Kyrie Irving where literally nobody knows what's going on with him. And now you're bringing in, you know, one of the most, you know, ball dominant, you know, scoring guys in the league and asking him to just fit with one of the all-time best players in Kevin Durant. So how is this going to just seamlessly happen? Like no one's practicing. No one's even allowed to hang out together. I mean, how are we expecting these guys to gel? Don't compare this to the Celtics from 2007. Just please don't. I mean, those situations are completely different. And we always go back to comparing it to that when players join each other, but you just can't. Every team and personality is a different fit. And to me, it's just because the Nets acquired Harden, not denying his talent, I just don't know how they're all going to fit together.
You bring up a good point about the chemistry, the situation at hand, the practice. I mean, who knows? The league could be done in a week. Who knows? Like, we don't even know
allowed
that
to practice
it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things circling around this. But if I'm just looking at it from an X's and O's standpoint, once these guys get together, if this is a team they're throwing on the court, I look at 3 guys that are capable of making this work, basketball-wise. We've seen, and I said this. This was
they're the 3 biggest donkeys on the planet, though, huh? This is such an easy team to root against.
Their talent through the roof, though, when it comes to offense.
Through the roof, but holy crap, is this the least likable team ever assembled?
Celtics fans,
it's totally up there.
For Celtics fans, it's going to be as easy as it gets.
These guys are brutal.
2008
KD
Celtics
whining
team.
every second from going to Golden State all the way down, and nobody loves me, and screw you, and you know, and his 12 burner accounts, and friggin' Kyrie, the most. Whatever. I don't even want to talk about Kyrie. I don't want to waste a breath on him. And then Harden is just. I mean, this was disgraceful the way he shot himself out of here with Houston, you know, showing up throwing his teammates under the
fat
bus.
Protest, and it worked.
And just a brutal guy to watch play. I can't stand it. You know, like I can't stand this brand of basketball. Yeah. I mean, I love watching Kyrie play, truthfully, but I can't stand Harden ball.
Well, they were a beautiful team to watch early this year, and part of that is that Kyrie committed to that off-ball role to some degree. He was getting off the ball, cutting back line. They were doing some good. They were doing some baseline pick and roll work there. There's just a lot of, you know, pretty good sets out of that D'Antoni offense and some of the good coaches that they've assembled around Steve Nash here. Now, how does Harden fit into it? There's a lot of talk about him moving off the ball, which he hasn't done since Oklahoma City. I've argued that he's capable of it, but I think the way this actually works out is Durant playing a center type role, having him play kind of like a Dirk pick and roll game, play off Harden's gravity on the ball.
That's wasting Durant, though. You really want to toss Durant at the 5? Really?
That's not a waste if he's the best of all time at that position.
That's sort of the foregone conclusion for the next stage of his career, right? I mean, not to say that he's approaching that stage, but I mean, he's going to have to adapt a bit when he gets a bit older. So why not adapt now? Yeah, I'm with Bobby.
Who's the best player of these 3 right now?
Durant. No question.
Yeah.
No question.
Durant.
I mean, at Harden's current weight, it's Durant.
Yeah, but we don't know what Harden
pound for pound. I don't know.
Pound for pound.